From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez. Here.
Before we go to reports on action taken in closed session, I'm proud to make an announcement that the Board of Supervisors has made an appointment to the Director of Child Support Services. Pleased to announce that during the closed session today on item 67 of this morning's agenda, the Board of Supervisors voted by unanimous 5-0 vote to appoint Acting Director Marcus Mitchell as Director of Child Support Services. His appointment is effective immediately. Marcus is the most qualified of an outstanding field of candidates for the Child Support Services Directorship. He has helped to maintain the department as a top performer in child support collections and distribution while broadening their services to children and families. Marcus has done a great job as acting director, and we are pleased that he will continue to lead the Child Support Services staff in important work that they do for their children and the families throughout Kern County. Marcus, congratulations. Sarah, congratulations. Come on up, Marcus, and introduce your family to us.
Good afternoon. Chairman Gleason and members of the board, I'm really excited to stand before you today. Thank you so much for your vote of confidence today as you have appointed me the Director of the Department of Child Support Services. It's been a career-long goal of mine, and I'm excited to finally have achieved that. I brought my wife with me today because she stood with me through all of the twists and turns of my journey. So Sarah Mitchell and my youngest daughter, Serena, who's yet not in school, is here. My other two daughters are in school. And then I wanted to say thank you to my team. My management team is here. They've supported me during the transition and also support me going forward. So thank you so much for your vote of confidence, and I look forward to serving the families and children of Kern County. Thank you.
Marcus, thank you very much for taking this on. We have learned to grow a lot of respect for you during the interview process and watching you work for the past several months. And please also be aware that the competition for this was fierce, and your competitors were outstanding to a person. And so congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
And also thank you to Mr. Nylon for all of his support during the interim too. He really helped me a lot. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, report on actions taken in closed session. Madam Counsel.
Good afternoon, Chairman Gleason and members of the board. There were quite a few matters that were heard in closed session today. Item number 66 was withdrawn. Item number 67 you have already reported on. Item number 68 was heard, no reportable action was taken. Item number 69 was heard, no reportable action was taken. Item number 70 was heard very briefly, no reportable action was taken. Item number 71 was heard as to all three matters. And with respect to item number 72, by a unanimous 5-0 vote, the Board of Supervisors approved and directed County Council to file lawsuits for injunctive relief, damages, and other appropriate relief against 5 dispensaries located in Kern County. And those are medical marijuana dispensaries. And those dispensaries are Rosedale Remedies, 10111 Rosedale Highway in Bakersfield, California; Cannibals Medibles, located at 110 Morning Drive in Bakersfield, California; Patient Wellness located at 115 Price Street; an unknown dispensary located at 1106 Sequoia Drive, and when I say unknown, I just mean the name is unknown; and then a dispensary known as One Health at 2400 Ming Avenue. And those last 3 dispensaries are located in Bakersfield, California. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Counsel. We're going to start with the consent agenda. Please, everybody, if you had an opportunity, grab an agenda in the back of the room on the tables by the doors. Consent agenda is all items listed with a CA or C above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda for the Board of Supervisors. The C represents the consent agenda for the Kern Sanitation Authority and/or the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District. Consent items will be considered first, may be approved by one motion if no member of the board or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent agenda, will be considered in this listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So moving through the agenda, we'll start on item number 4 on the Public Works Department. Number 5, number 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way through 14. The County Administrative Office has items 18 through 31. Legislative matter is 32 also. County Administrative Office General Services Division is 33 through 39. Continuing on, 40 through 42. Human Resources Divisions, item 43 through 45. Is there any, in matters for executive approval, items 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Are there any members of the public who would like to have any of these items removed from the consent agenda for discussion? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a vote to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Board of Supervisors to reconvene as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District.
So moved.
Second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Okay, we're now sitting as the Ford City Heights Sanitation District. The consent agenda for that responsibility is item 1. Anyone in the public would like to pull that consent agenda item off? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board and ask for an approval on consent agenda for the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District, and then for us to adjourn as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors.
Motion.
Second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Great. That brings us to item number 2, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on the agenda but on the jurisdiction of the board. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Anybody would like to speak? Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name.
Robert Scales. 8 months ago, we had an agenda item about the penalty for marijuana cultivation under the old ordinance. No action was taken. However, Supervisor Maggot asked council to make a comprehensive study of the issues and to report back. I try to follow all of the meetings in the agendas. I'm not aware that that report ever took place. If it did, for it to be adequate, it should have covered certain issues. One is whether the excessive penalty provision of Article 8 of the U.S. Constitution and Article 1, Section 7 of the California Constitution would apply, and that has been elucidated by the Supreme Court in 1998 under Bajajakian versus the U.S., where they came up with a 4-pronged test of what constitutes an excessive penalty. And if you look, and then 4 years later, the California Constitution affirmed that 4-pronged test. So that needs to be looked at and addressed. Secondly, is the Article 11, Section 7, which talks about where general laws of the state preempt laws by lesser bodies. And though the courts have affirmed that counties have the right on the regulation side of the cultivation issue, the penalty side is preempted. And you could go back to the memorandum that the council produced on Proposition 47, read that analysis, and apply that to this case, and you'd find that the penalty should have been preempted. So here are 3 areas of unconstitutional actions by the board that need to still be addressed 5 years later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scales. I'd like to make sure that you get an adequate response. Madam Counsel?
Chairman Gleason and members of the board, it's my recollection that we have gone back to the board on this. Perhaps Mr. Scales would like to review the board's meetings and minutes, and he can see that we have done that. With respect to his arguments about preemption, while I respect what he says, I disagree with him. The California Supreme Court has already ruled on the preemption issues and has determined that counties do have the right to ban dispensaries, and there are adequate cases that allow the county to ban and also to regulate cultivation. So while I appreciate what he has to say, I respectfully disagree with it as a matter of law.
Mr. Scales brought up an interesting point when he asked about a review being conducted. I think Mr. Maggart may have suggested it. I vaguely remember something like that happened. Was that review done? Did we do that review? Is that available for Mr. Scales to look at?
My recollection is that we have gone back to the board on the penalty issue. Your board did relax the penalties somewhat and
Right.
change the procedure on the
Right.
penalties. There was a board referral related to further regulation on dispensaries. We have not returned to the board on that referral, and that is still under submission.
Mr. Scales, I want to honor your concerns and your thoughts. And I think we've made adjustments and taken your considerations into thought as we move forward through the course of the year. Is that your understanding, or do you have a different understanding of the circumstances? Could you please come to the microphone, sir? And
The courts have given to the counties the right for the regulation side, and that could be like where you plant, how you plant, or how many, so forth. But the penalty side is preempted. And so here's where council and I are total opposite ends of the thing. And I think
That's correct.
it
We
might be good
do, if
for-
I may interrupt, we do disagree on that. He thinks that he's wrong as a matter of law.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Perhaps when he goes to law school and he reads all the cases and he becomes county counsel, he can opine on the law to you. I don't want to be disrespectful to him, but I know that he has a position. I have heard it many times, and I disagree with him.
Okay, that would be just on that side. This on the other side of the excessive penalties, I think there's more than enough legal basis for going back and adjusting those 30 cases. But it's sort of like there's two areas. There's the excessive penalty and there's a preemption, both of which are sufficient to cause a revision. And I don't think that it's adequately been addressed, and it might be that an independent voice other than the city council should look at the issue. I know we have one of your staff members is a very outstanding lawyer, Brandon Martin. He might be a good one to independently look at it. I don't know, I'm just totally frustrated.
thank you, Mr. Scales. Thank you, appreciate it. Appreciate your thoughts. Okay, let's move on. Public presentations. Anyone else in the public would like to make a comment? Okay, bring it back to board member announcements. Moving right along, it brings us to item number 15, County Administrative Office. Approval of a proposed amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement for the Kern Groundwater Authority for the Tulare Lake Basin portions of Kern County effective April 5, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Alan Christensen from my office will be briefing you on this matter.
Thank you, John. And Chairman Gleason, members of the board, it's my pleasure to present this item. This is an amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement with the Kern Groundwater Authority, or the KGA. The KGA was formed in 2014 for the purpose of coordinating groundwater management programs and activities. The ultimate goal of the Kern Groundwater Authority is to achieve long-term sustainability for the Kern County subbasin as required by SGMA. The Board of Supervisors originally approved a JPA agreement on April 8th of 2014. That JPA, which exists today, is primarily a planning JPA and had very little regulatory powers. The amended and restated JPA gives the KGA enhanced responsibilities and powers to its members to eventually form a GSA and produce a groundwater sustainability plan, again, that complies with SGMA. There are currently 19 members agencies in the KGA. It's expected that most, if not all, of those members will approve the amended JPA agreement. Apparently a handful already have approved that agreement. Fiscal support for the KGA comes from its members by way of contributions. The agencies that comprise the KGA, including the county, have agreed to equally share the costs of the technical consultants and administration of the KGA. In the coming years, the KGA hopes to implement water fees, member contributions, well fees, or other pumping fees to support the activities of the Kern Groundwater Authority. There was a budgetary item that your board just approved on consent that dealt with the county's contribution to the KGA. So this item shows no fiscal impact. County Council's reviewed the agreement and is in support of it. Therefore, it is recommended that your board approve the proposed amended and restated Joint Powers Authority Agreement with the Kern Groundwater Authority and authorize the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to sign. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Christensen. Let's open it for public comment. Any of the public wishing to comment on this issue? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for thoughts and concerns.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Koch.
I just would make a motion to approve and thank the staff for their hard work. Thank you very much.
I'll second that.
We have a vote and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Moving right along. Item number 16, proposed resolution approving documents for the delivery of amendments to a site lease and facilities sublease with the Kern County Asset Leasing Corporation in connection with the County of Kern 2011 refunding certificates of participation, substitution of property associated with the transfer of Kern Medical Center to the Kern County Hospital Authority.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good afternoon again. Elsa Martinez from my office will brief you today.
Ms. Martinez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The County Administrative Office is requesting approval of the proposed resolution providing for the execution and delivery of amendments to the site lease and facility lease originally executed in connection with the County of Kern 2011 refunding certificates of participation and approval of other related actions. In 1999, your board authorized the issuance of certificates of participations, or COPs, to fund certain capital improvements at Kern Medical Center and to the countywide communication system. The COPs included the Kern Medical Center B Wing as the leased property securing the COPs. In 2010, your board authorized the refunding of the 1999 certificates of participation in order to realize interest savings. The new 2011 refunding COPs continue to be secured by the B Wing at Kern Medical Center. In connection with the transfer of Kern Medical Center to the newly created Kern County Hospital Authority, the county is required to transfer clear title of the facility. The resolution proposes amending the site lease and the facility lease to substitute the B Wing with the new Information Technology Building, the Fraser Park Library, the Pine Mountain Fire Station, and the Fire Station number 65. The county will be unable to secure future COPs using these facilities until the 2011 refund and COPs are paid off in November of 2020. The county is currently working with the Office of County Counsel and Bond Counsel to finalize all the documents. Therefore, it is recommending that your board adopt the resolution authorizing for the execution and delivery of the amendments, and authorize the chairman or any other member of the Board of Supervisors, in the absence of the chairman, to sign all necessary documents related to the amendments. That concludes the presentation, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Anyone in the public wish to make comment? I think you bring it back to the board for thoughts.
Motion to approve and adopt the resolution.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Great. Brings us to item number 17, report on Kern County's OpenGov Financial Transparency Portal.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jason Wiebe from my office will be making this presentation to you. Jason?
Good afternoon, Chairman Gleason, members of the board. Last fall, your board approved an agreement with OpenGov Incorporated to implement a financial transparency and management reporting system. The first-year cost and implementation of this service was reimbursed by a grant from Innovate Your State, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to encouraging civic engagement and increasing public participation. What I'm going to do today is provide a brief overview of the platform's functionality, and I'm happy to provide any other information or demonstrations of data that your board or the public would like to see. It's recommended that you receive and file this report, and with that, I'll provide a brief 2 to 3 minute demonstration on its functionality. First of all, you can access the portal from the county's homepage, right here in the middle where it says welcome to County of Kern's Financial Transparency Portal. Click on that link and this will take you to the Budget and Finance homepage. And you can click on either of the two reports to access the portal. I'll click on the annual report to begin. And when you first click on the portal, if it's the first time, you will get prompted to go over some functional areas that'll give you some tips and tricks on how to navigate it. And if you're so bold, you can even get a Budget 101 overview. But I'll just go ahead and get started and kind of get into the mechanics of it. It'll first take you to the adopted budgets, 15-16 expenses, which breaks it down in a lot of different categories: salaries and employee benefits, other charges, financing uses, services and supplies, and et cetera. We have saved a few frequently asked questions on the side. You can click on the side on these views over here, and it will automatically give you that report. For example, I know there's been some interest in libraries recently, so this will give you a 5-year trend of revenues and expenses for the library. You scroll over the bar chart, and it'll give you some data in terms of the overall expenses, and the blue chart, overall revenues, and again, it gives you a 5-year comparison. You can look at different graphical formats, from stat graphs, percentage graphs, line graphs, to pie charts, and scrolling down will give you the actual data, the actual numbers for people that are more interested in numbers in the graphical formats. The other way to access data is through filters. On the left-hand menu here, you can look at expenses, revenues, different funds. If you just want to look at general fund, you can look at general fund expenses, revenues. If you want to navigate by department, it'll give you the menu for different departments or categories of departments, and a lot of different functionality and different ways to build reports and identify revenue and expenses for the county. To go back to the beginning, you just hit the reset button, and it'll get you back to the main page, again, where you can navigate and drill down to different areas that you so choose. The other report is current year report, and this just gives you a year-to-date, beginning with the July 15-16 fiscal year, and it's a cumulative report that goes through February. We'll update every month about 2 weeks into the month subsequent to the report. So right now it shows you again all the different categories of expenses and revenues, from salaries and benefits, other charges, services and supplies, et cetera. I'll show one more example, then ask if there's any questions. I'll go back to annual and just drill down by department. If I wanted to go down to department and, for example, use health and sanitation and go into public health, here's a pie chart of their current budget. Here's a bar graph of their past 5 years, showing a decline with the last fiscal year that completed in 2015. I can click on salaries and supplies and just look at, or salaries and benefits, and just click on that area. Or if I just want to look at workers' comp, again, dozens of different variations of revenues and expenses that you can build reports and identify and even share through social media, email, or download as a table to save to your desktop. So that's it in a nutshell. Again, with our county homepage, there's some more tips and tricks as a PDF to help people navigate through this system. And we also would appreciate feedback in the help key up here. If you want to contact us and provide any feedback on reports you'd like to see or any additional functionality you'd like to see, we'll certainly take that into account and try and do the best we can. That's it in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Anyone in the public have comments? Yes, ma'am.
Lauren Skidmore with Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government. Chairman Gleason, members of the board, I wanted to say congratulations on behalf of Kern Citizens Board of Directors for the implementation of OpenGov. We are extremely excited for you in making this huge step in unlocking data and making it convenient and accessible for citizen engagement. This method allows the taxpayer to not only see a more transparent government, but feel the trust in government that all of us are hungry for. I have taken time to review the page and only have one recommendation. Currently, the home page shows the expenses right off the bat. I might suggest starting with revenue versus expenses so the viewer can have access to both sides without having to make additional clicks on the left-hand side with the filter. But lastly, I am encouraged by your board's effort to implement this open government process, and we at Kern Citizens applaud you and are excited for any future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Skidmore. Any other comments, especially if they're nice ones? We'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank Kern Citizens, specifically Chad Hathaway, for suggesting this to me, and for our staff's effort. Also, thank you very much, Jason. You've done a marvelous job on this. It's a very usable website. It has a lot of wonderful information, increases transparency, which we're totally all about here. So I want to congratulate you and make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
That brings us to an end, to an adjournment to Tuesday, April 12th, 2016 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Done. Good job. Good job, Jason.